Verdansk, a hotbed of discussion right now in the Warzone scene, because wouldn't it be poetic if it came back one final time to close out the current Warzone era before the Warzone 2 launch? Now, while unfortunately that's unlikely to happen, today I want to take a trip down memory lane and have a chat about why Verdansk was so unique, so special, and why I'd wager that for many, it will never be topped. Today, we're talking about why the original Warzone era won't ever be beaten. As we go along, drop your thoughts below. Do you agree with this, that we'll never see this peak of Warzone again? Do you disagree and think that we can get to that point once more? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video though, you find it at all insightful, you enjoy the stroll down memory lane, whatever the case, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And as well, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any more retrospectives like this. And if you'd like to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 in just a short bit of time. We're pushing towards 500,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you in the community. As well, if you'd like to get connected a little bit further and join the community over on Twitch, we're live relatively often, and it'd be always great to chat with you. But for now, let's take a look at Verdansk and why I think it may never be topped. So Verdansk was, of course, the home of Warzone for just about 2 years' time. But even before Warzone, we got our first glimpses of Verdansk stemming all the way back to Modern Warfare 2019's beta with Karst Rigger Quarry. While the development was at that time disassociated, and it's been stated on record that that specific map wasn't built with the extended universe particularly in mind, hence why if you look outside of Karst, you won't see other parts of Verdansk, but if you look outside of maps like Port, you'll see the Gulag, you'll see parts of farmland, you'll see downtown. If you look outside of downtown, you'll see hospital. If you look across from Verdansk Riverside, you'll see the airfields. You look at airport, you'll see superstore. If you look outside of Promenade, you'll see glimpses of the Ferris wheel and Promenade East, as well as parts of Boneyard. And if you look at Boneyard, well, you'll see edges of Promenade and so on and so forth. So while Karst wasn't initially part of that connected offering in the ground war design, it of course was our first entry into the world of Verdansk that then came later through Spec Ops and further ground war missions. When the map dropped in Warzone in March of 2020, it was our biggest world yet to explore, and it was a massive one at that. Unique play spaces and a world rife with exploratory options. I still look back at some of my day one gameplays that I captured with Warzone and honestly can't believe how much different Warzone played then. There was no defined meta, no real knowledge of slide canceling and the ways to take advantage of the movement mechanics. It was just an entirely different game. But Warzone was a first for Call of Duty, a fresh start for so many. But one of the key reasons as to why it was so wildly successful was there was something that Call of Duty had never done, at least not to the degree that it did. It had been a long time since Call of Duty really changed its formula. I mean, in the golden era of Call of Duty, you had some innovations every year or so. World at War to Modern Warfare 2, you saw the introduction of kill streaks, going further in depth than just the 357 we had become accustomed to. In Modern Warfare 3, we saw the introduction of the strike packages, a nuke level streak that didn't end the game, and objective points for your streaks as well. Black Ops 2 introduced the Pick 10 system, a score streak system, as well as giving us our first genuine and great ranked play system at launch. There's plenty of examples like that where Call of Duty changed the game up, but for the past 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years before Warzone, there really hadn't been a whole ton that fundamentally shifted the game outside of transition to advanced movement for that 3-year window of Advanced Warfare to Infinite Warfare. So when you threw a curveball of free-to-play and Battle Royale, something that previously had only been seen in Black Ops 4 as the first take on the genre but behind a paywall, of course it was going to be that fresh experience that players existing and new would want to try out. And for those new, you didn't have to buy into it. There was no existing barrier of entry in the form of a $60 or $70 price tag. Warzone in the world of Verdansk was the Call of Duty Battle Royale on top of that, incorporating the fast pace of Call of Duty, the first-person perspective the franchise was built upon, but unlike Blackout, incorporated a way for players to have their own choices and unique gameplay elements incorporated into that with a loadout system, offering that Call of Duty staple in the Create a class in a Battle Royale sense. The fresh nature of not only just all of that, but also introducing more elements to the Battle Royale genre, like the Gulag, that was a first for the COD franchise and a newer idea for the overall Battle Royale genre as a whole, as was the ability to buy back your teammates. In Battle Royales, it was mostly one and done. If you got downed or eliminated, you were done for the rest of the game. These features, I think, fundamentally were two of the things that really helped the game soar with traditional Battle Royale enthusiasts. That was, as somebody who played Battle Royale games since the original Arma mod days for Battle Royale experiences, something that I didn't even know that I needed. It was such a fundamental shift, but one that I thought was best for the player experience. Verdansk in the world it offered and the original Warzone experience was just simple. It was just a new, fresh way to play the game, offering the ability to succeed for just about anybody, but pitting you up against at most another 148 players was no easy task. Now, all of that can be objectively true, but we also can't forget one of the biggest, if not the biggest reason as to why Verdansk and the original Warzone experience was looked at so fondly. There's a few moments in everyone's life that they will remember forever. Fewer still that everyone will remember at that same exact time. And I think it's safe to say that the world right around when Warzone launched was one of those times. times. Warzone was released when the world needed an escape the most, and I genuinely wonder that if it had released a little bit earlier in the year, if it released later, if it would have had even close to the impact that it did on the Call of Duty franchise, but also pop culture as a whole, because things like the Gulag meme went mainstream. I don't think that anyone could have predicted months earlier what the world would be in store for years to come. I mean, still to this day, we have the effects of COVID lingering, but in March of 2020, it's undeniable the effects it had. I remember the week before Warzone's launch, myself and a bunch of other creators were invited out to Los Angeles to go to Infinity Ward's studio to check out the game early, and COVID was on the rise so much to the point where I kind of had to lie to my cautious grandfather who was like, "Jordan, if you have to travel for work, please don't." And sure enough, not 2 weeks later, that's when the entire world shut down. Herein is where I think why we derive so much love for Verdansk, so much nostalgia, and honestly, rightfully so. As we just mentioned, Warzone came out at that right time. It was a new experience and it was something for people to do where alternatively they really couldn't do much. The world was undoubtedly a depressing place for months to follow, for a magnitude of different reasons, and for maybe many, multiple of them affecting them equally. So for many, myself included, the brightest parts of our days oftentimes when we'd be able to jump into a Discord call, PlayStation or Xbox party with friends, forget about the outside world and just think about gaming, having good times, having some laughs with our friends. It was an escape unlike any other, really. I mean, when we were limited in our ability to do things that we enjoyed socially, even to the point where we couldn't participate in sports, we couldn't go to concert halls or venues, we couldn't go to bars, we couldn't do anything with the outside world outside of just a few people, a very select few. A lot of us were just trapped, and gaming was that escape because you could be social, you could enjoy something all within the walls of your own home at the time, and that was perhaps the easiest and safest bet for some at that point. Verdansk was that escape, and being that map, that experience of Warzone went supersonic right at that point, it's a peak that may not be able to be matched again. I'll be the first to say that I genuinely love those memories that I made with my friends during that time, and it got me through some really dark times that the world otherwise presented. But objectively speaking, Verdansk also was laden with quite a few problems. I mean, you had multiple issues with geo, you had many one-way entry points and rooftop campers you couldn't combat, plenty of broken items, but again, all of that can be objectively true while also saying that we may have had our most fun at that point because it created so many positive memories in a time where really there might not have been too many. So when I look at Verdansk, I'm thankful for what we had the opportunity to play on. And if it ever were to come back, honestly, I'd love to see the quality of life changes that we've seen in the last year or so with Warzone, because I think if you took some of the best of what we have now versus some of the best of what we had then, you could make a phenomenal experience. Verdansk with things like lootable perks, the redeploy balloons, improved geo, things to allow you to traverse the rooftops a little easier, like the catwalks we see in Capital of Caldera. I think that'd be a phenomenal experience. So when we look at it, objectively speaking, was Verdansk fundamentally flawed? Absolutely, there's no denying it, but I don't think we'll ever reach that peak once again because it was something that those memories are something we can't ever replace. It helped a lot of people in some really hard times, and to me, that's why we look at it so fondly, why it's on such a rightful pedestal, even if at a design level, it could have been flawed. So that to me is why Verdansk and the original Warzone experience will probably never be topped. Can we still have a good time going forward with the future of Warzone and into Warzone 2? Absolutely. But if you think about the original Verdansk, the original Warzone experience, and you think, man, I love that, even though the map itself could have had some issues, both can be true. One does not override the other, and so therefore, you are absolutely not in the wrong, and I'm sure that there are plenty more that agree with you and I here. So that said, that is what we're going to call it. I want to just take a look back today, a little stroll down memory lane, and think about the original Warzone experience, Verdansk as we knew it, and going forward into Warzone 2, how hopefully we can have that match again, but might be unlikely for some. But that's where I want to turn it over to you. What do you think? Do you agree with this assessment that Warzone and the point in time in which it entered into our lives was something that was a unique experience that may never be topped? Or do you think there absolutely still is potential to get above and beyond where we were before? Whatever the case, feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. There is no right or wrong answer, just a casual discussion here with you guys that I'd love to get your feedback on. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, do make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and even retrospectives like this. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. Thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.